Hello, welcome to the post-match pint in association with Purity. This is the Villa View with Dan Bardell, Ty Bracey and his dog making funny noises in the Ty. I guess, we have the first draw we've had this season, so in some ways it's good to get that out of the way, but in other ways, when you've had 27 shots and you just feel like you've dominated the game without, albeit looking particularly potent, you've got to take 3 points, haven't you?
Yeah, I think everyone was a bit worried when they've seen the team sheet tonight. But, a positive, I was happy with the performances from everybody, really. The final third was quite frustrating. Traore being scared to use his right foot, the shots on target, there's many things we can scratch our head at this evening. But, I guess a point's better than nothing.
Yeah, we've dominated the game pretty much from start to finish. Obviously, when you've had 27 shots, it's clear who the best team have been. Burnley have come and done pretty much what you would have expected them to do. That had a couple of dangerous moments in the first half, but I don't really remember them threatening us at all in the second half. But we just weren't clinical, and it's not as if we've missed loads of massive chances, but you just never felt that we had the cutting edge, and they could still be out there now when we wouldn't have scored.
Yeah, definitely. We looked really dangerous going forward, and then when it come to the moments to have a shot on goal, it was just it was either too simple for Pope or miles over the bar. I think Hawes hit the post in the first half. The free kick hit the bar as well. Great tip onto the bar from Pope. He's not an easy keeper to get back at the best of times. So when we got that many opportunities, we got to be putting them away, really.
Yeah, he's a really tight, because we were just talking before we came on, and we're so far away from what we were last season in terms of how we look going forward. Just with a bit more finesse and cutting edge, we'd be right up there. But like I say, you do kind of forget the strides that we've taken over the last 12 months have been staggering, really, especially so far this season.
Yeah, it's quite refreshing to be in a position where we're not grateful for a point and annoyed that we didn't get 3. So I try and see that side of it as well, as where, this time last year, we'd probably be grateful for a point, but today we're in a position where we're a bit annoyed that we haven't took 3. If we'd won these 3 games in hand, we go up to second in the league. That's coming up to Christmas. That's outrageous.
Yeah, as I say, it's light years away from where we were last year. Let's bring in our first guest, one of the best Villa shirt collections in the country. It's Pete. Hopefully he'll appear on the screen any second now. I think Pete's actually quite buoyed, which is a surprise, because I don't think anyone's buoyed. I think although we accept what's happened tonight, I don't think any of us are delighted. But Pete seems quite buoyed if he ever turns up on the screen. There he is, Pete. Welcome. What did you make of it?
Oh yeah. Hopefully you can see me.
Yeah, we've got you.
Good. Yeah, I'm happy. I think you were just alluding to, the fact that we are night and day from last season. Now, I know we've played Burnley. Yes, everyone's buoyed that we should beat them. But I was impressed with Burnley. They're a stubborn defensive unit, proper hard to break down. We've given them a battering, and yes, we haven't won the game. But the point is, we have got to the stage where teams are coming to Villa Park and they've got to respect. Whereas before it was, we'll go down Villa, we'll get a result. So I'm seeing progress, lots of progress.
Yeah, I think that's a really valid point, that the progress, as I say, is right up there. The other flip side of it as well is that we've got 4 or 5 regulars, 4 or 5 people that have been mainstays in the side. Because let's face it, there's not a lot of rotation goes on at Villa unless it's forced. We're missing a lot of players tonight, and we've still dominated the game. And you might have looked at that side pre-game and had a few worries about how we would play going forward, but it didn't really affect us missing players, did it?
I think it was a huge blow. I was hoping Barkley would be fit, and I've looked at that squad, and I'm thinking, is it the League Cup? We've made 4 changes. Okay, Jack's playing, but is it? But this is the Prem, innit? This is what we've got to get used to. It's going to be game after game after game, and we haven't got the best squad. And people who are dreaming of getting into Europe and stuff like that, I don't think it's realistic at all. We need to consolidate this year and then push on. That's progress, absolute progress. If we can finish, and then, well, it depends what the board want to do. Maybe in January it's going to be like a Juninho moment. We're going to sign some world stars. It's well, I know we didn't sign Janino, but
I was going to say, I hope not.
Yeah, we're at a crossroads, aren't we? That's the point I'm trying to make. We're at a point where, with a few players, we could really play. We could because that team, even though we've lost a couple of, like Cash has been brilliant this season, really good. Louise, for the past, since after lockdown, has been a real good player. We could really go places. We're bordering like Everton. If we get James Rodriguez, if we got Richarlison in, a couple of worldies to go alongside Jack, we're going places. So I'm looking at it really positively from that point of view. Not the fact that, Burnley have come. I won't say they've put 10 men behind the ball, but at times, we've had like 30 shots or whatever compared to their 6-5, whatever it was. But we're going places, and I'm really buoyed by the fact that, we ain't won tonight, but we're looking at the bigger picture being us in the Premier League and not messing about in the Championship. I'm happy, really happy.
Todd, do you agree with the fact that I get what Pete's saying? To get mid-table would be a fantastic achievement. It'd be great progress. But there's a bit nagging at me where I think some of these games that we haven't done anything in the last month or so, where there's been chances to do things. We could genuinely make a push for Europe this season that would be massive for the club. What do you think?
I mean, with the lack of fans, I think that's given us some shock results. I think home form is being tarnished. I mean, our away form is,
spectacular.
Really, really good. But would it be the same if there was fans? And I think we really need to be capitalising on these times with no fans, because as you said, Dan, especially in games against Burnley, this time last year we'd probably be happy with a point. This year I am kind of a bit frustrated that we haven't took 3, especially when we've had 27 attempts on goal.
Pete, as well, before you came on, I was talking about home form and away form, and you were saying there isn't really any home and away, which I guess is fair, but the facts remain is away from home, like Ty said, we've been absolutely brilliant. Results have been stupendous. At home, since the Liverpool win, we have stuttered, and I don't think we've won since that game. So there's something funny going on somewhere. What do you make of that?
Well, again, I'm going to say last season, we'd have all been in the whole end, wherever you sit, and we'd be saying, this is a 6-pointer. We need to stay, we need to win this because Burnley are going to be down there with us. We're not saying that now. We're not saying that. We're looking up rather than looking down, and I'm really happy about that. Yeah, I know what you're saying. If VAR would have changed its minds against Brighton, if we'd have got an equaliser against West Ham, it was absolute robbery, VAR. I think we've been done by VAR twice on that, but I'm not going to keep going on about VAR. I absolutely despise it. But yeah, if it's turning those ifs into actual positives, and the big teams can turn these chances into 3 points. We are getting the chances. Yeah, we're not doing it, but we're getting the chances. So what I'm saying is, if we get 2 or 3 quality players, like I'll go back to the Everton example, if we can get them, we can go places, and I'm really positive about that. And tonight was a classic example. Burnley came and they gave us nothing but respect tonight. They never went out to win that game. They just came, I know it's home and away, and what you're saying is home form ain't great. Okay, but has our home form ever been great? I'll go back to, they were all, you get Wigan rocking up at Villa Park, and we'd have Downing, Young, Carew, the real boys, and we'd still stutter at home. So what I'm saying is, going forward, I'm real positive based on the fact that we get a couple of real quality players. And, Traore, then have a great game. I don't think he's got the pace of the Premier League yet, but maybe he'll kick on. He'll do a Douglas Luiz. He'll find it and he'll kick on. Or maybe we'll have a signing. I mean, I'd love to have seen Benrahma come in. I know I've said to you, Dan, Benrahma, I think he was a real player, and we missed the boat here. We spent 17 million on Traore, and he's gone for 28 or whatever, and maybe wages. We don't know the full story, do we? If we'd have got him in, that goal he scored the other night. I mean, imagine him. He'd have been like Jack and him. But that's what I'm saying is we ain't far away. And this, after that we've watched for the past 7 years, I'm real positive that we're going to push somewhere. We're going to do something. And being a Villa fan, it's before the start of the season, everyone's like, oh yeah, great, and you never know what's going to happen. But we've seen the players, we've seen what we can do. When Barkley's there and Jack's playing on form, we've got a real good, strong 11, but we haven't got the strong squad. if we can get the strong squad, and we can do. I mean, we ain't far away, are we? As Ty's rightly said. Yeah, okay. If we'd have won tonight, but if we win those 2 games in hand, and I know one's against Man City, but they've just drew against West Brom. If we can win them, we're fourth or wherever the table is, and up the Villa. It's great. I just can't wait to get back and see it. Because we're playing some decent football. I'm really positive about the Villa, and you can't go, can you? But again, that's a side issue.
Pete, we've really enjoyed having you on. I've really enjoyed your positivity to start us off tonight.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks, Pete.
Thanks ever so much for coming on, pal, and we'll speak to you again soon.
Up the Villa. Always up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
Very positive, Ty, isn't he, Pete? He's loving it.
I love it, to be fair. It kind of made me feel like I'm being a bit of a spoiled brat, but I definitely see where you're coming from in terms of the, the European side, because you can see those glimmers of hope that could happen, but I definitely agree with everything you had to say in terms of how we're looking, adding a few more players to the squad. I definitely agree with that.
I mean, I'm slightly concerned that I can still see his big face on my screen. I don't know whether you
yeah, I can on mine as well, but I just assume it's fine on YouTube.
I've no idea what kind of views going out, so apologies if you can still see Pete, because he ain't going to be saying anything for the rest of the show. Ty, we spoke a little bit about Traore. Where are you with him? Because it is early days, and as Pete rightly said, you've got to give these people time. I mean, I was having a pop at Douglas Luiz probably this time last year.
Yeah.
Come back after lockdown, and he's the best thing since sliced bread. I look like a mug, so you aren't going to find me saying anything about Traore. And there's actually a lot of things in his game that I see that I like. But again, the tale of the night, really, it's a little bit of a lack of an end product.
Yeah, he's definitely very one-footed. However, he did look a lot sharper today. And I think that probably comes down to match fitness. Yeah, you're definitely right in the end product. But there was a time, I can't remember at what point in the game he was, but he's fully give it the absolute baked beans, 80 yards, ran back and got rid of the ball. And he's literally ran
he did.
from the top of the field and give it absolute loads. And I think he's lacking match fitness. I think that's probably a massive part of it. Whether he comes good in the end, I don't know. You could see that fitness was a problem for the time that he's had so far. Definitely needs to be a bit more confident on that right foot because, especially with coming up against teams and Trezeguet being out, if the pre-match, tactics and stuff that the other clubs are doing, they're going to see he's very one-footed, see that he's going to put it onto his left always. It's always going to be shut down. I don't want to make an assumption yet. I'd like to see him push Trezeguet for his position. I don't want to say not good enough. I don't feel like we've seen a fully match fit Traore yet.
And also, he ain't played 90 minutes, has he? So you can only judge someone when they've had a few rounds of 90 minutes. And also, you need different options for different games. And having the squad's important because we've seen tonight, for the first time, really, we've needed to make massive changes.
Yeah. Well, I had put in my one of my other Villa WhatsApp groups that I'm in. I called him Traore again because he was just on the edge of that right side of the box, and it's like, come on, man, get it in. And it's just that frustration of taking that one touch too many and just not absolutely railing it home.
Yeah, I mean, there was certainly a lot of frustration overall tonight as a Villa fan. I'd just like the producer Adam to just give us some kind of message that everything's okay and start to prep the next guest as well. There he is. I think Stephen Green's on his way in again. At this point, I'm not sure what anyone's saying on their screen because I can only go by what I'm seeing. But the original podcaster, Stephen Green from the Aston Villa Review back in the day, who I was shocked to find out that started 10 years ago. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah. Obviously, a frustrating game, but one where we can take some positives. I think Pete made me overly positive now. I'm feeling quite positive after having him on. Where do you sit with that game?
Oh man, it was so annoying. I think we're starting to look like a big game team, aren't we? The games where we've really turned up this season, Liverpool, Arsenal, Wolves, really pulled some performances out of the bag. And then we get these games against teams like Brighton and West Ham and Burnley, and no disrespect to them, but these are games that we should be picking up points from, and we've come away with 1 out of the 3. I just thought we looked we missed that dynamism that guys like Trezeguet and Cash usually bring. We missed that tonight. I thought we looked a bit slow. Burnley are so good defensively, and they organise themselves so well that if you give them that extra bit of time to get back and organise, they'll do that. And they just sort of crushed us out.
What did you make of the team selection pre-game? Because I think we were probably all surprised that Jacob Ramsey didn't start. I thought he had a good first start in the Premier League at the weekend against Wolves, so he made way. I think we all expected El Ghazi to play, albeit we probably thought for Traore. But what did you think of the team selection? Obviously, Nakamba and Elmo coming in as well.
I mean, it was pretty much like for like, wasn't it? I get what he's doing with Ramsey and not putting him in too many games too soon. I think if Ramsey had started tonight, he probably wouldn't have lasted the full 90. And you don't want to risk something going wrong with a player at that stage of their development. So I thought, it was fair enough. I was really glad to see Courtney Hawes play well. The disrespect that was put on that man's name in the build-up to this, when the team sheet was announced,
you did get
still
a
unreal.
stick, yeah.
And after what happened with El Ghazi and with Tyrone Mings sort of making a point of it after the Wolves game, you'd think that we'd have been over that, but apparently not. And he looks a bit rusty at times, but that's when you haven't played many games this season. And I thought he did really well, and he was unlucky not to score.
I mean, I myself didn't say any of that on Twitter, to be honest. But when the team gets announced, you're always going to see some numpty saying something about one of the players. And I mean, I don't know what people expect. To be fair, Conce is injured. Your third choice centre back comes in. He's pretty logical to me what happened there. But Ty, in the first half in particular, I thought Hawes dealt really well with Burnley's threat, because they did carry a little bit of a threat in the first half. And I don't remember Hawes really losing a battle or a header.
No. To be fair, I was. I think he had a great game. He looked very confident considering he hasn't been getting, first team match minutes. Same with Marvellous. I think they both had a really good game. Marvellous had a couple of wobbly incidents, but nothing to moan about. One of my best friends, Lee, pointed out that today there was more left-footed players on the pitch for Villa than right, and he was like, "I wonder when the last time that's happened was." There was
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, as a whole, I thought Courtney Hawes had a blinder. To be fair, he did well. I mean, he didn't have much coming at him, but stepped up in times of need. Nearly got a goal.
Yeah, well, let's face it. You probably should have had a goal in the first half. You've got to be scoring in that position, but I guess also there'll be a little bit of rustiness knocking around as well. The players that came in, Steve, they did well, but the problem is that Nakamba, for example, as well as he did nothing wrong. He was okay. He isn't Douglas Luiz. And that's the problem we've got at the moment, isn't it? That the players coming in probably aren't as strong as the first 11 or anywhere near as strong, really.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I thought Nakamba did okay. He did his job. And it was like I was saying earlier, I think when you've got players who come in after a spell out, to not notice them is probably better than to have something go wrong and notice them for all the wrong reasons. But like Pete was saying, the January transfer window is 2 weeks away. I think I'm setting my sights a little less ambitious than him. I think Everton, have the draw of Ancelotti and the like to bring those players in, but there's definitely a chance that we can bring into some problem positions and strengthen in key areas to make sure that the second string isn't as weak's not the right word I'm looking for, but you know what I mean. A bit more competitive maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all know that we need something else up top, another option, because Keenan's come on tonight, but let's face it, it'll only be another week or two and he'll be injured again. Just talk to me a little bit about Watkins, because he's just a little bit on the periphery in these kind of games at the moment. It's not like he's missing a load of chances, and I'm not criticising him at all, but there's just something not quite right and not quite there at Villa Park in these kind of games.
Yeah, I mean, I said on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, going into this season with just Watkins as pretty much the sole choice up front is as bad as going into last season with just Wesley. And that's not to say I think Watkins is a bad player, but I think that's a lot to put on his shoulders in what is going to be, in his first season in the Premier League and in what is got to be a consolidation season for us, where we're looking at maybe pushing up and finishing above 15th. I think that's a lot for him to carry. And I can't remember who it was, but I'm going to steal their point from earlier. They said that he looks like the kind of striker who's going to score in spurts rather than be someone who's consistently scoring. And I think that could be the case. But, he has scored against Liverpool and he's scored against Arsenal, but he can't get a whiff against Burnley. Maybe it's the way, these teams set up that they're much more used to clogging out that area where he operates in the Premier League than they are in the Championship.
Just to finish, Dave, what do you think are what are your realistic expectations now? We're coming up to Christmas. What are your realistic expectations for this Villa side this season? What are you aiming for?
I think we could, where are we now? Like 10th or something? I think we could hover around there.
Yeah.
Maybe sneak in the back door of the Europa Conference. Which,
Oh yeah, that new one.
Go and play some Faroese Postman next season. I think, I'm not going to get carried away, but I think, definitely, like you guys are saying, we're a lot better than we were last season. And if we can just make those little connections where they're not happening and convert these 1 points into 3 points, then yeah, for sure. Top half is definitely doable.
Excellent stuff, Steve. And thanks ever so much for coming on. I've been meaning to get you on for ages. Stupid, forgetful, need to start writing things down. But the original Aston Villa podcaster, Stevie Green, thanks for coming on, mate.
With pleasure. Thanks, Up
the Villa, mate.
Up the Villa.
Ty, I don't know what's going on with the third guest. I've got no indication whether she's coming. I don't know whether you've had a chance to look at your phone or anything. Mine's not in front of me.
I'm on my phone, so I
okay.
help you.
No phone calls here. So it could be just me and you. Danny from the Bedford Lions could appear on the screen at this point. Neither of us know. So me and Ty are going to carry on chatting for a bit. West Brom now on Sunday. I really felt like this could be a week where we could actually get 9 points. And there's Villa fans starting to panic a little bit on Twitter now that Sam Allardyce is coming for West Brom, which fair enough, West Brom might do something against us on Sunday, but it's kind of making me laugh. Oh, Allardyce is the manager now. It's going to be a completely different game. Well, Klopp was Liverpool's manager. We beat them 7-2. I think a change of manager just doesn't suddenly make them side overnight. It's a bit of a weird one, isn't it?
I'm not afraid. Sometimes I get afraid to say things on Twitter just purely because people are, you're going to jinx it. I'm not superstitious at all. So I don't believe in, managers' first game syndrome where they have a blinder. Sam Allardyce has been out of football for 3 years, mate. He's a dinosaur. I don't think we're gonna lose. And, people go, oh, you're jinxing us. I just, the quality in us compared to West Brom it's absolute moons away, mate.
Yeah, the other thing is as well, if you think about the West Brom game, they might have been better off with Billy. They'd just come off the back of their best result of the season, one of their best results in years, away at Man City. So you could have argued if Bilic had stayed, that would have been a worse thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was the right decision to get rid of Bilic at all. If you give a manager 20 million to spend in the Premier League, what do you expect? Do you think you're going to have a season like Sheffield United when they first came up? No, it's that isn't going to happen every season for every team that comes up. I genuinely think they've made a huge mistake in getting rid of him. I really do. But we'll see what Sam brings to the table on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think West Brom have been a lot more competitive than I thought they would be so far this season. The results probably don't do them justice in some ways because I've been actually a little bit surprised with them the few times I've seen them. Let's go back to Burnley now. Obviously, we were missing a few players tonight. Surprised we didn't make more subs, though, during the game. I think we all, like I say, Ramsey could have come on, Connor could have come on and maybe nicked something from a set piece. When you're chasing the game, are you surprised there wasn't more fresh legs on?
I mean, I would have loved to have seen a Connor about 70, 75 minutes, especially when the frustration has fully kicked in, like we can't hit a barn door here.
Yeah.
I think bringing him on, I mean, you never know, do you? A fresh pair of legs in midfield, whether it be Ramsey or Connor. Connor is a great impact sub. We know that already, proven. It just would have been nice to get that fresh pair of legs in midfield. Marvellous. Hadn't played 90 minutes football. Dan, you probably know better than me when the last time he played. Has he played 90 minutes this season?
In the Cup, he would have done, I think, but I can't remember a specific game. Probably the Stoke game, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice for the last 15, 20 minutes, to get Connor on, get Jacob Ramsey on, but it's one of those things. And there's been a lot of times in the last year or so where we've probably scratched our head a little bit at substitutes, but, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, things can change very quickly in football as well. It seems like Connor's massively out of favour at the moment. If you just said to him probably 4 or 5 players are going to be out and you're still not going to be starting, he wouldn't be very happy. But El Ghazi's come in massively from the cold, obviously nicked the penalty against Wolves at the weekend. He started tonight, found himself back in the team. And again, did a lot right, but it is just that end product.
Yeah. Jack had fed him a fair few times, and I fully rate Jack with... and it shows you why he's captain. People think, the things that's going on off the pitch, It isn't just about that. It isn't just about him being young or skillful. It's the confidence he instills in the team. He's the backbone of that confidence. You know, when Al Ghazi scored that penalty, it's like, come on, mate, get in the corner. Let's have a, you know, celebrate what you've done. You've just scored a last-minute winner in a derby. You know, like, come on, you know. And the confidence wasn't there, and you can see that Jack's just tried to provide him tonight with that little bit more. Like, come on, let's show everyone how good you really are, because I think they see a player on the pitch that is very different on the training pitch. That's probably a bit different to the player we've seen. I mean, when I tweeted saying Al Ghazi stepping up and doing that, Yannick Bolasie replied to it, and he had said, you know, Jack's give him the ball to do that because he sees him do it for fun on the training field, and, you know, they're things that we don't see. You know, so if we can get those products, that end product on the field, in games, you know, it's just another piece of depth, isn't it? You know, a bit of competition out on the wings.
Yeah, because he was a forgotten man, essentially. I think we probably all thought he isn't really going to be getting a game again, but a few injuries and people do come back in from the cold. On the subject of Jack and giving him the ball, and you see he wants his teammates to do well. Jack's, I don't care what anyone says. Jack is a proper leader. People always, you see the odd person say, Ming should be captain. He's the one shouting. He's the leader. He is a leader. About that. He is a leader. But Jack is obviously our best player, but he's a phenomenal leader now as well. I think his leadership skills have come on leaps and bounds since he's had the captaincy. And again, his skills as a leader are worlds away from the skills he had as a leader when he was first made captain. I think that's something that gets completely overlooked. But sometimes now, I know what I mean here. I don't know if I'm going to explain it right, but it comes at the expense of his own game. Like a couple of times, don't put El Ghazi through.
Yeah, have a whack.
I shoot.
Yeah,
just wanted to shoot.
Absolutely. No, I definitely agree with that.
It was so frustrating because you obviously know Jack's got the ability, and then finally towards the end of the game he did shoot, and obviously
Rosette
going into the whole end into my seat, which wasn't great. But do you want to see him be a bit more selfish at times? People talk about it. The commentators were saying about him being known as a bit of a greedy, selfish player. That's not the case at all.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely seen it tonight. You know, he was providing, he was feeding, he was trying. You know, at the end, he had done a through ball to Keenan to whip one in the box where he probably could have shot. He's doing it, mate. You know, it's very easy for a commentator who doesn't see 90 minutes of him in every game like we do to make that assumption when you probably look at statistics on paper. But when you see it, you know, in a live environment, mate, it's very different.
I could see Danny on the screen now. Again, I've got no idea whether everyone else watching can see her, but I can see her. So we're going to bring her in for a chat. Looking quite flustered, Danny. I think you've had a bit of a nightmare trying to get on.
Oh, it's been a nightmare. I'm normally all right with Microsoft Teams, but look, I'm here now, sorted.
There we go. We've saved the best till last. We've waited patiently for you. Ty and myself have padded for long enough. So what did you make of the game?
Oh, it was quite frustrating, wasn't it? I think when we saw the squad get released at 5 o'clock, we were looking at it, and I think like Ty's tweet kind of summed it up a bit. Like we were looking at who was missing, and I think we all had a bit of a panic, didn't we? We were going, oh, Cash is out, Collins is out, Dougie's out, Barkley's out, Trez is out. But look, at the end of the day, it's a point, isn't it? We haven't lost.
No, and I think any team losing that amount of players, it's going to affect their game. But actually, apart from the end product, our attacking game was there. We played with some swagger and some verve, didn't we?
Yeah, there was a lot of attacking going on. I mean, it was quite frustrating because at some points I was thinking, we should be 2-0 up here at this point. But I think we just need to get some more minutes, some more game time with Traore in particular, because he had a few chances, didn't he?
Yeah.
It can't just be me who's a little bit frustrated with that second touch. You just think that I wish he could just pull the trigger on the first touch, really. But you know, we're 11th with 2 games in hand, aren't we? So I'm thinking we can get some of the players back in off their suspensions, and we should do a job against Baggies.
Yeah, but that's the thing, because it feels like a little bit of a missed opportunity, because obviously we've got a fantastic result away from home at the weekend against Wolves. Brilliant result. You get 3 points, and you then look at the next 2 and think there's a real chance for 9 points this week. And then Burnley at home, the one you're not a banker because Burnley are a difficult side, but you think this is a real chance to make a statement now, and we don't do it. And you kind of, as good as the start of the season's been, it's been brilliant. I think we're all happy. We're light years away from where we were this time last year. It's been great to see. But you do just have that nagging doubt in your mind that it could have been a little bit more, couldn't it?
Yeah, it definitely could have been. I mean, there was one point, because I think I come across as being quite positive on Twitter, but
Yeah.
I have to confess, there was times when I was like throwing things around my living room today when I was seeing chances getting squared when I think they should have been being put into the back of the net and whatnot. And there's other things as well that frustrated me about the match. How did Ben Mee not get booked?
No idea. I was about to say a game nearly went by without any
3
refereeing
times that was.
controversy.
3 times. Once
I
on
mean,
the
I
edge
think
with Jack.
staggering.
I think he nearly kicked Ollie Watkins in the head. The leg was definitely too hard.
Yeah,
And
that's a
then-
yellow card.
And then again at the end, was it with Jack again? At the end.
I remember Jack moaning at the ref at the end,
Yeah.
how's he not been booked or something? And to be fair, Ben Mee's obviously done one of our players in the middle of last season as well, so we haven't got a lot of love for Ben Mee between us, I'm sure. But you're right, should be getting booked. And then it's a different game when Jack Grealish is running at you and you're on a yellow card. But when you know you can keep getting away with it, you've probably got a decent chance of keeping a clean sheet, because they are very organised and they are hard to break down. And Ty, I guess that's something that you have to take into account. Burnley are very good at what they do, and they've done it against us.
Yeah, I mean, I rate Tarkowski, to be fair. I think he's
Good player.
a very good centre back. Ben Mee's just one of them players that probably like how Grealish is to us. You know, Burnley probably love him and everyone else hates him, but Burnley love him and that's all that matters. Whereas we probably think, you know, there's a few words I won't say live on YouTube, but you know, words I could describe Ben Mee, especially, you know, with the challenge on Wesley. But, you know, definitely should have been booked, especially when Ollie Watkins was getting a booking for, I don't know if the ref had waved him back on the pitch, but from what the commentators had said from when I was watching, was that they booked him because his nose was bleeding when he came back on.
I think he just ran on without permission. That was how I looked at it. You can't come back on until the ref says you can.
I mean, fair play to him.
I mean, to be fair, he did wait till the ball was literally right next to him. And
well, go on then, I'll try.
Yeah. I mean, you're never, ever going to get away with that. But a yellow card feels a little bit harsh when Ben Mee's going around assaulting people. It definitely feels a bit harsh. I just want to get both your opinions on this, and I'll come to Danny first. In a game like that where it's 0-0, I'll ask you about McGinn, because he doesn't get much criticism. I'm not here to criticise him because I love him as much as everyone else does. In a game like that, do you not want to see a little bit more from him? I don't remember a single driving run from him. I don't know whether his instructions were different tonight and he was told to sit next to Nakamba. But in a game when you're pretty much all out attack like we were, do we not want to see a little bit more from McGinn in a game like that?
We do, but same as you just said, really. What was he told to play more of a holding midfield role? You know, we're without Douglas Luiz, which would normally be sort of a role that he would perform. So it's like, did we need sort of a regular first team squad member to sort of fit into that role instead? And you know, he had some all right hold up play. I did a tweet mentioning how he uses his bum when he plays. I do love the way McGinn manages to do that.
I think we all do.
So to be honest, I don't have too many criticisms for anybody in the way that they played today. And I think there was other players, fringe players like Anwar El Ghazi, who got to start. I think he had a good game.
Yeah, he did.
He looked hungry. He took a few chances. I mean, that free kick would have been sublime if it had gone in. You can tell he's been practicing and he's just sort of like channeling his inner Cristiano Ronaldo. And I think, you know, a bit more confidence will get there. The difference is on this game, and we can always say, we should be winning against Burnley, but we had a lot of rotation. Almost looked like a cup squad, sort of like early stages of a cup. But you know, we have to play with what we've got. We didn't lose, and we've managed to get more Premier League minutes in the squad, so it will add to our squad depth. But you can only play with what we've got, can't we?
Yeah, and I suppose, with the busy festive period coming up, actually, some of those players getting minutes might not be a bad thing at all, because at Christmas, when the injuries are coming thick and fast, suspensions, games are coming thick and fast, you may need to call upon anyone. Danny, thanks ever so much for coming on and talking to us. I'm thankful that you got on eventually. I was getting a bit worried that you weren't going to be able to join us, but thanks ever so much, and up the Bedfordshire Lions.
Oh, thank you. Up the Villa.
Good to see you, Dan.
See you later.
See you later.
Ty, just to finish, let's say all the players that were missing tonight come back. They're in contention for the weekend against West Brom. Has anyone done enough tonight that played to keep out those players coming back?
At an absolute push, I think. You see, Trezeguet's been playing quite well, and now I wouldn't put Trezeguet below Traore in the pile. No. In terms of who starts on that right wing. But obviously, we've been out for a few weeks. It might affect match fitness. It wouldn't surprise me if Traore starts and Trezeguet comes on, if he's better. But no, I wouldn't say there's anyone's place who's up for grabs. But I'll tell you one thing, though. I did enjoy a Jack Grealish in the Central Masterclass tonight.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. It's nice once in a while, mate. And, he's got the beans. He can go from one box to the other, mate, in literally like 6 or 7 seconds. He gives it when he's got the ball at his feet. But yeah, it was a refreshing change. I'm not saying I'd like to see it there permanently, but it was a refreshing change to not just see him on the left. I like to see him central tonight. It was refreshing.
So I don't like it. I much prefer him on the left now. I think he picks the ball up in better positions. I think he picks the ball up where he can drive at teams in more space than he gets when he's playing through the middle. I think sometimes when he's playing through the middle and it's not going well, he kind of gets forced to come a little bit deeper to get the ball, and then he's picking up the ball with his back to the game. And I just don't like it. I prefer him on the left. I don't know whether Barkley's going to be back on Sunday, so that hypothetical thing that I've just offered you is probably a load of garbage. But do you not think El Ghazi might keep his place now in the 11? If Jack is to play in the middle, El Ghazi on the right.
I think that Jack going in the central was probably a confidence thing as well. With the question you had asked about McGinn, I think instead of him going box to box, I think it was more so to provide that support for Marvellous, probably in a confidence thing within the team. Yeah. I need you to just hold back just a little bit in this game, just for the confidence for Marvellous, just to be that supporting player. I think he will probably start on. It wouldn't surprise me if El Ghazi started on the left. If Barkley isn't back, yeah. But I guess we'll find out in the coming days.
We will, and of course, the Villa View will be back after the West Brom game. Completely forgotten when the kick-off time. I think it's around 7:15, isn't it? So we'll probably be on around 9:15. So yeah, all that's left to say is thanks for supporting us tonight. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure you're checking out the Purity website as well. If you use our code #TVV10, then that will get you 10% off all their goodies. I've just realised that someone asked me for that code yesterday, and I've given them the completely wrong code, so that's good. I'll have to be messaging them after this now to make sure I get that right, because for some reason I thought it was TVV20. It's not. Maybe one day, but at the moment it's #TVV10. So yeah, go on the website, get yourself some Villa kegs, get yourself some Villa glasses, and get yourself some Villa cans. We'll be back on Sunday with another show. As I say, thanks again for tuning in, and up the Villa.
Up the Villa.